All right, welcome back to Terra, Invicta, and our intended challenge run. I was going to skip ahead to 2024, but while I was just doing a few things in China, well, it turns out that the Corpo initiative over in the European Union decided to absorb the Benelux and Germany, meaning the initiative is actually off to a solid start. They kind of need to throw humanity first and the protectorate out in order to monopolize this, but for the moment, they're doing really, really well. I think the Alpine states may not be long for this world. Those points are cracked down. It's interesting how many of these initiative points they had to abandon in order to get the CPs necessary. Now that they've consolidated, they should be able to re-expand. So that's now interesting. We've got an Exodus Russia, an Initiative EU, a Resistance India, and as yet a neutral United States. My only concern is that with these other powers each sort of attaching to a major power, I'm worried that it's basically the Protectorate and the servants that might have the CP free in order to go after the United States. The other person who might have capacity is Humanity First, who will be getting bonuses from their position in Mexico. So I can only hope that maybe Humanity First throws the servants out of Canada and maybe they can make a play at the United States. In any case, where are we with China? My goal has been to push GDP in China a little bit because this is tied to scientific research and you get better rewards on it early in the game than doing it later. That said, I don't want to push GDP per capita too high because if I increase the investment points of China too much, well, it'll just be too expensive to hold on to. I don't want to dump a whole bunch of knowledge immediately, but I will transition over to it soon. But certainly my focus is going to be economy and knowledge as opposed to welfare. In Taiwan, I am focusing almost exclusively on driving the democracy value up as high as I possibly can. In fact, I might even drop the economy for the moment and the welfare and just go 100% knowledge all the time, pushing up education level and democracy as far as it will go. Kazakhstan is building mission control full time and is already up to 4, accounting for most of our mission control. And of course, Saudi Arabia is also in the democratization game. In fact, again, 100% it is. All knowledge, all the time, push this value up out of authoritarianism as quickly as possible. GDP per capita is already very, very high in Saudi Arabia. There's no need to push that higher. So democracy is the name of the game. We now have some CP free, so I'm considering expanding and just picking up a few temporary points while we wait for China to come out of crackdown. A few more points would not go astray. I'm holding on to some African domains, but I'm going to have a look around and see what else I might want to pick off. All right, brief tech update because I will be doing a technology guide soon, probably this weekend. One of the things I would suggest is that some players put too much focus on engineering projects early, as opposed to pushing forward the technology of the globe. Humanity First has just finished mission to Mars, they've gone mission to the moon. I'm actually getting on board with this because I believe this throwing a mine to the moon might actually speed up our colonization of Mars if we get a good location. So putting some focus there is good. Solid core fission systems is going to be critical. Well, not critical, it's an optimization pick. If I can get nuclear freighters in time to go to Mars, it's going to shave off both some boost cost and also just some time in terms of getting them to location, and it's going to also pay off when we go to Mercury. Starting industrialization of space, this is a bit of a slow burn, it's a very expensive technology, but getting it finished by the time we're ready to go to Mercury would be really handy because the first station you send to Mercury, you want it to be carrying a construction module so it can build out your other Mercury stations rather than you having to send all of them there, slow burn, long transition. These stuff, fission pile, alien flora. We need fission piles for Mars, but we don't need them for the moon. We don't need alien flora right now. So I'm just pushing full speed ahead on solid core fission mission to the moon. I might even June. I'll push this to get mission to the moon next month and see if I can capture this tech slot while I'm at it. In we go. Sorry, I've just come back after a break. I'll do some priority adjustments on planet Earth while I'm at it, but other than that, let's zoom on. And we have investigated abductees. I believe this was in Canada, of all places. Anyway, our security forces have been particularly hard hit by our drop in support. Soldiers are inclined to fight, not wait and see. Many have abandoned us for groups aiming to resist the aliens, if not destroy them utterly. Still, a few have remained loyal, for which I am grateful. It was one of those teams that was able to solve this particular puzzle. A middle-ranking civil servant with no prior history of violence or political extremism was discovered gathering information on the residences and personal security of his superiors. From context, text, the information was clearly for the purpose of kidnapping, if not outright assassination. Two similar cases in the same country were also detected. A civil servant was a previous abduction victim, and to all appearances, he is now assisting his former captors. Why? And more importantly, if they were able to capture these three, how many more of these are taking place without our knowledge? Our theories and debates now seem woefully outdated. The aliens are, in all likelihood, in the middle of advancing their influence and control over Earth. So there we are. Oh, and the aliens are building new bases around Triton. Fantastic. Alright, mission to the moon is complete. We have our high-speed probe, so 16.5 days to get our probe there. And critically, it means that our probe will get there and we'll get to pick a location before any of the other factions do. I'm hoping we're going to have enough boost in hand in order to build our first mining outpost, and that will significantly reduce the costs involved with Mars. So what we'll do with Mars is instead claim a couple of sites that we want to target and then use the resource flows from the moon, hopefully, in order to make that possible. I do like high-speed probes, if only because it's going to give me first dibs on the moon, on Mars, and any other places I target. Ceres is another one where high-speed probes comes in handy. Generous trade with humanity first seems like a good idea, and I'm also using the brief window of time I have before my China points come off crackdown, so I have a little bit of CP limit available. I'm setting Ethiopia on a modernization track so that it's going to have better economy, welfare, and knowledge later on when we choose to recover it. But the other one I'm gambling with a go for is I'm going to try and quickly get rid of Pakistan's nukes. With the Protectorate in control of Pakistan's executive, I'm concerned that if an anti-alien faction gets in control of the US, then they'll usually invade places like that, and the fewer nukes going off, the better. I might also disarm North Korea's nuke, because I don't think I'm going to be able to hold on to that location, and the fewer nukes in the world, the better. At least for the Academy, I think these three nukes in China are a good thing to hold in reserve. I don't think we need loose nukes flying around the rest of the place. If I could eliminate more of them, I could, but the rules keep me out of Europe, so I can't exactly go in and disarm the UK or anything. So Pakistan, 60% roll, might be able to make it happen. Okay, probe has arrived at the moon. The mining facility research is 15 days off, so that's a slight failure of optimization there. We're going to waste 15 days. Okay, so what we want here is a location that produces as many resources as possible. We can do without nobles, I think, because there's relatively few required to build things, and a little bit of fissiles will get us by. There's a 3.3 site here at Downbert Crater, which I really only worry about if there's no fissiles on Mars. For the moment, let's claim Piri. It'll give us a little bit of water, a little bit of volatiles, a little bit of base metal. This is enough to build something on Mars and pay for its own upkeep. So we'll build at Piri Crater. It'll take 35 days for the outpost to get there. And then, as soon as we finish researching the mining complex in 15 days, we can send the mine up here as well. Buying a little bit of boost and some cash from humanity first should keep us in the game so far as money to buy new orgs as they come up goes, but also critically is going to make us get to the moon just that little bit faster. I really wish there was a balanced trade deal arrangement, but it is what it is. So 43.9 should be just about exactly what one needs to launch something to the moon without nuclear freighters. So if we go lunar sites, Piri Crater, 41.7 is enough to launch our mine, and then we need 4.9, which we will have pretty quickly in order to launch the solar collector, but the solar collector arrives faster than the mine does, so this whole location should be producing relatively quickly. It's all about the small optimizations when you're playing on higher difficulties, or at least that's how I'm playing it, given this is a challenge run. And because we're trying to save the world, let's just get rid of North Korea's nuclear weapons while we're at it. There's no reason for those to exist, and they're dangerous in the hands of anyone else. I just don't trust them. We're also about to get rid of Pakistan's. That's half of our ops income. Unfortunately, we're going to have to let Tibet be. But let's disarm Pakistan's nuclear weapons. There we go. Pakistan, under the control of the Academy, has eliminated their nuclear weapons. We are also over cap, so let us, now that we've set Ethiopia to do its thing, we can abandon nation. We're not getting a huge amount out of it. We just want to set the nation on the right path. Pakistan too, we're just going to make sure they finish their spaceflight program, because that's a future MC location. The island over here, Taiwan, is now producing mission control full speed ahead because Kazakhstan will eventually fill out its slots, and we're going to need a decent amount for this initial colonization spree. It's all ground based mission control at the start, and I don't want to waste China doing exactly that. China needs to push its knowledge up and still build its economy and do a little bit on welfare, but mostly it's about getting this education level up because once we get these points back, I want as much science income as possible. And like clockwork, I timed that well, China's points come off crackdown, which means it's an important time to do a little spring cleaning of our nations. I reckon let's start by abandoning the DPRK. We don't really need it. Oh man, we were spoiling it. We don't want to be spoiling it. Let's swap it to building mission control for whoever takes over. Maybe eventually it'll finish a single point. Saudi Arabia we need to keep because this is our future caliphate. We've abandoned pretty much everything in Africa, so let's finish abandoning any states that we haven't. We don't need to be paying CP cap upkeep on those. Pakistan can complete its spaceflight program without us, and there's no reason to be in the DPRK. So now we're down to Taiwan, Saudi Arabia, China. Let's just check that there's nothing not cracked down anywhere else. This all looks good. Oh, the Great Lakes states. Fantastic. We will abandon that as well. And I reckon I can get my CP cap up to 264 in order to cope with this. This is another reason we need to slow down the economic growth of China, though. Too many investment points means too much control point cap usage, which means we can't expand, and I kind of want to eventually. If only to put other countries sort of on the right path. I might still go around cracking down some countries in Africa that no one else is going to want, just to set their priorities to something a little less destructive than what the AI tends to use. Other than that, it's time to defend interests and get China whirring as far as research output goes. We've just got a whole bunch of our research output back. We need to put it to good use. Now, at this stage of the game, I find there's usually a little bit of downtime for your councillors. You're at your CP cap, so you don't really want to go after any other locations. You don't really want to harass any other factions too hard while you're not at war with any of them. And you don't have any CP cap to boot, plus you don't have the skills to do assassinations or detains or anything like that. So your councillors have a spare moment. I use that to get all the councils in a room and just tell each other how great they think they are and how great the academy is in this case. This chain inspiring is time intensive, but if you can lift all your councillors up towards loyalty 20 or 25, there's very few things in the game that will ever actually bring that loyalty down, and there are a number of things it defends against. Whenever I see people complaining that all their habs are being taken over in space, for example, the two things I always check for is what is the loyalty of your councillors, same with being turned, and two, whether or not you're over MC cap. So this investment at this stage of the game, pumping everyone's loyalty up, using investigation to determine when they've hit their 20 or 25, I find that handy to do at this stage of the game. Also, China, we're very heavily in knowledge right now, which means we're going to be pushing the cohesion down towards a rest value of 5 with all this knowledge investment. I've tried to pick up orgs to give bonuses. I'm at 18% and climbing. We're at 401 research, which means we have already overtaken the US, but excitingly, it's the resistance that seems to be making its way into the United States. Mexico fell to Humanity First, which I was excited that Humanity First might get the USA, but it looks like the Resistance are the first ones in. So we have Exodus Russia, Initiative Europe, Resistance America, which means I'm really uncertain what the future of Resistance India is because I doubt they can afford to hold both. Oh, and Resistance Japan. If they drop out of Japan, we'll be ready to pounce. I'm not sure where we'll get CP cap from, but at the very least, I don't want the servants to get it because I have grand plans for Indonesia and for Japan. Now, we're selling a bunch of crappy orgs to the servants here in order to get this cracker here. Bifrost Minerals gives a cash income, a 12% space mining bonus, a 7% economy bonus. Like, I'm here for it, so they can have my useless crap organizations. We just need to make a little bit of room on someone. We don't want to unequip that, preferably. You're not using your espionage at the moment, so we'll put that in our pool. And Bifrost Minerals can be equipped here, which will give us a nice mining bonus in space, plus a little extra cash income because we are going a little bit low. Basically, trade is where all my cash is coming from at the moment. That mining bonus is going to be bloody welcome. Apparently, the servants like that so much that Israel is no longer a rival of Saudi Arabia. What a world we're building. Also, Saudi's steadily climbing out of authoritarianism, but it will take maybe a decade for them to even be an anocracy, but we'll get there. China, meanwhile, also absolutely hoovering up. In a decade, China will be a full democracy, but we can go faster. Just need to keep ramping up that knowledge bonus. 21% and climbing, plus a mining bonus of 29%. We're getting somewhere worthwhile. I'm mostly worried about the boost income come Mars, but we should have nuclear freighters arriving in 20 September, right before our probe arrives, which is reasonable timing. We're a little bit late to Mars because of the research order and the priorities, but nuclear freighters' timing should be about right. And a quick trade to the initiative gets us even more cash and a better 2-star admin and economy org. Getting rid of all those useless, like low-level ones that I'm picking up, trading them off for genuine value. Good thing to be doing in the early game, and a great way to refresh your cash. Buy some more useless organizations and trade them for a non-aggression pact and 6,688 cash, which can be used to buy more shitty organizations, which can be sold for more cash and organizations. And so the circle of life continues. I'll even get one boost for my trouble. Thank you, Soren. What a businessman you are. Nuclear freighters is going to cut boost costs significantly and increase delivery speed by 18%, and so is a fantastic pickup. I'm a little less pushed for any of this now. Alien Flora can go in the slot. Actually, no, it can't because it'll cause a problem. We'll go space dock, but we'll also research at 0 and put our attention back on industrialization and photonic computing. With advanced heat management concepts done, mission to the inner planet is probably going to go into our next slot as soon as photonic computing completes, which is kind of handy because that means that we should, hopefully, by the time it completes, have industrialization of space and construction modules done. Alien operations is important for story, so we're going to roll that forward. Xenology is generally more efficient with stations in orbit, but I'm not going to divert, I'm going to focus on Mars above all. Here we go, alien operations. From the beginning, the clandestine aggressive nature of the alien actions was a puzzle, for if they were hostile, why take the trouble to make landfall? Even the most aggressively anti-alien voices within our debates have admitted that should the aliens wish to eliminate us, they could do so with little difficulty. We are at the bottom of a gravity well, they are at the top. The disparity in power is enormous. So this is a reference to the fact that if the aliens wanted to, they could probably drop an asteroid on us or just accelerate a warship into the planet at extremely high velocity. Eliminating life on Earth with their technology shouldn't be that difficult, and yet they choose to infiltrate instead. Yet the aliens have made no moves towards open violence. The two most likely explanations: they have stayed their hand due to ethical concerns, or they seek to exploit us. It now appears that the latter is more likely. Countries are rapidly falling under alien sway, with governments and leaders being subverted or directly controlled. Perhaps we should be grateful the aliens intend conquest rather than xenocide, but as things stand, that is small comfort. What do the aliens hope to achieve by taking control of our planet? What benefit could a subjugated species bring? And yet we have many questions and few answers. All we can do is continue to study their actions in the hope that some key will be revealed. So the Academy is trying to get to the heart of the alien motivations a little bit more than Humanity First was. Humanity First was more like, so how do we find them and introduce them to 50 cal rounds? It's a different way of thinking. And the Academy starts to splinter, which is something the Academy does unlike factions like the Servants or Humanity First, who have very clear ideas from the outset. The Academy starts to splinter. Now that the aliens' objectives have become clear, a point of divergence has been reached and all must choose a side. On one hand, we have the peace faction. They argue the aliens possess such clear, overwhelming superiority that the only realistic chance is for some sort of negotiated treaty or surrender. The earlier we can reach an agreement, the less harsh those terms are likely to be. So that's the Protectorate, the guys who are moving over the Protectorate. Hate those people. Opposed is the war faction. They argue the aliens are clearly and openly hostile, and we have no choice but to resist. Reports have surfaced of other alien species used as expendable cannon fodder. Should we surrender, humanity's fate is likely to be no better. Resistance at least offers some slim chance of freedom. Surrender means a bleak and certain fate. And then there are a few remaining holdouts like me who still hope for some sort of cooperative resolution. Is it possible, or are we the greatest fools of all? And this is where we get introduced to one of the pains that is being the Academy. As Humanity First, our mission technology at this stage of the game cost 2,000 research and gave us a badass organization. The executioners are incredible. A cooperative resolution costs 25,000 research and gives you a pretty shit organization by comparison. This is painful. 25,000 research at this stage of the game hurts. We will do it once we can detect alien agents, so we're not doubling up on xenoscience research, but the fact that this is so expensive, representing the fact that the Academy has to sit around and talk about everything, well, it's a little bit painful. And our campaign of non-aggression continues. We now have one with the initiative, and we have one with humanity first. Awesome. If I can get one with the resistance and Exodus, I'm feeling pretty good. Whether or not I want one with servants and protectorate, well, it remains to be seen. Old habits die hard, and I kind of want to make life hard for them before, they learn how to speak Hydra. Okay, so apparently unrest got so high in the USA that the USA went into civil war and was overthrown. So now the initiative controls the executive, Humanity First controls the Congress, the resistance controls the media, the warlords, and the financial sector. Yes, America now has a faction called Warlords, and the corporations are controlled by Humanity First. Okay, I don't see how this could end badly. So America now is an anocracy with a batshit budget profile, and 84 science output. This China starts kind of doing well for me in terms of science output and stuff, but I'm really worried about what's going to happen now that America is under the control of the initiative. Oh, this is going to be awful. Civil war, Jesus. Okay. Okay, our probe has arrived at Mars, and let us take a look. So, what do we want? What do we want? What do we want? Okay, fissiles are very soft on the ground, which means Arcadia Planitia is getting claimed. Like, straight out, because we're going to need a fissile source. Found an outpost. 5.1, 308.5 days. That's unfortunate, but there we are. Then we need a source in nobles. There's only one good one on the planet, so we want Olympus Mons. And then we want probably at least one more. I'm thinking water, volatiles, good mixture of metals. There's a lot of metal at Xantha Terra and more nobles. Thinking Xantha Terra may be the way to go, because that's an awful lot of base metal. Like an awful lot. Okay, so that's Xantha Terra. Let's claim that. So that's 3. How much to get a mine going at any of these locations? We'd probably want Olympus Mons going first. Alright, so we can just build it in space. Fantastic. And, alright, so in 10 September... On 10 September 2025, we will commence mining on Mars. Okay, fantastic. So that's one mine that's going to be active. Do we want to launch a second one? We can launch this second one for 6.6 boost. Okay, so that's 2 mines that are now launched. I think I might want to claim maybe one more site. I'd like a whole bunch of water if I can, but I'm not seeing sites that both combine amazing amount of water with good yields on anything else. If anyone's seeing something I'm not seeing in terms of this Mars, please let me know. But as it is, no sites are really perfect. There's no amazing volatile yields. I might claim this one, although I'm worried about total fissile income, but yeah, Arabia Terra it is. 5.1, last of our boost, off it goes. And let me just make sure that I did send probes to Phobos and Deimos. I did not. Well, we will do that now. They're usually not great, but let's probe them and find out. Protectorate non-aggression is not fun, and giving them nuclear freighters just encourages them to expand into space. But I can take their shit later. 6,000 cash is a lot, and Door Inc. is a good organization. It's an admin org with the sinus bonus and a couple of extra things beside. It's more useful than not having it, so we'll complete that for the moment. The fewer people that come after me, frankly, the better. So let's assign Door Inc. for yet more command cap, and we can get more organizations purchased and continue this chain. We're now up to 16k cash, mostly by looting the other factions. This is because the other factions spoil the world because they have no ethics. So as a result, we take all their cash from them, so at least we can put it towards a good cause. That's Academy ethics. Likewise, the Resistance can be convinced to part with a pretty decent mining organization, which has a little bit of. I like mining organizations, and even if I'm not going to equip all of them right now, having them for later is good. Plus, they can be convinced to part with 4,600 cash and a non aggression pact. I could probably even get a little bit of boost out of them. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. Who knew academics could be so good at trade? Oh, never mind. The United States has undergone another revolution, so now it's merely undergoing guerrilla war. No one is in charge, and the resistance and exodus hold 2 points. Militaries are damaged all over the place. The country is an absolute wreck. Inequality is high. Yet somehow GDP is still pretty good, so I guess revolutions aren't that bad for the American economy. Tell me, Americans, what's your secret? Well, okay, we'll go there in a moment. Let me just hurry up and build this generator on our fourth space mining base, well, third or fourth space mining base on Mars. Quick check. Academy. Alright, so we've got one location base left on Mars that needs a mine. We'll get there soon enough. That should be a good base of initial production. And then we can start banking for Mercury, which should be missions to the inner planet sometime in 2025. We will be able to kick this out. It's just at the moment no faction is supporting us, but 2025 to go to Mercury should be about right. Let's go have a look at the United States of America. Oh, how you're faring without my hand to guide you. So we're down to just guerrilla war now, and somehow America's democracy value has actually gone back up massively. GDP is hurting, but isn't terrible, and scientific research went up. That revolution threw out basically nobody, switched Exodus for the initiative on the identity blocks. The warlords don't exist anymore, and the servants are in control of the mass media. So it must be Tuesday, I guess. Meanwhile, the initiative has linked Poland into their European Union and Denmark, so they continue to expand strongly there. Russia, under the control of Exodus, obviously has Ukraine, but has expanded no further, and they're probably not going to expand into Kazakhstan as long as it's allied with my nuclear-armed China. My China should eventually go military priority, get a navy, that sort of thing. Atomic age is really weak, but at the moment I'm just juicing the science as fast and as high as it'll go. We're already up to 606 base scientific output compared to 203 in the United States or 334 in the Uniting European Union, but you know what? We can go further. I also have a little bit of free control cap. I'm looking for potential points. Indonesia would be handy, and also reclaiming Ethiopia and getting it back on track now that Humanity First has left. That's another opportunity for us. If we can fix Saudi Arabia and China, we should probably also be fixing Ethiopia, and also there are grand plans. Something like Singapore might also be a good pickup. Anyway, leave it with me. But this is the year of the 2024 was the year of the 3 American revolutions. It's 21st December now, so I imagine we're not going to get a fourth. But there you go, Americans, 3 revolutions in 1 year, and somehow the nation ends up okay compared to where it started as a result. Wow. Ha ha ha, no. No, because then Russia's going to declare war on any of its rivals that are allied with the United States and the EU, and we're in a nuclear war. No, we don't do that in our new China. In fact, if anything, let's see if unaligned United States... No, it will accept a normalization of relations. Well, I think another faction actually has to be in charge. I'm not sure. Either way, we're contacting Exodus to try and complete our collection of non-aggression pacts. And I'm trying to build up public opinion in places like Japan, for reasons that will become apparent later on. I am considering going back into Ethiopia with my remaining control points, and that might be what I do probably next turn. Let's just suppress dissent in Kazakhstan and go about our business. And bloody Exodus won't sell me myself. I don't even really need my org right now, but the fact that I'm working for someone else just feels like a special sort of treason. Kind of weird. I guess, look, they're not going to trade me right now, so I'll sell them some of my useless orgs. I'll grab a non-aggression pact. Will you give me one of your other brands? I mean, I'm really annoyed I can't buy myself. See, he'll sell me a level 2 org which has utility and usefulness, but he won't sell me... Oh, I'm pissed. I am pissed. He doesn't want to sell me boost, not really. I'll buy 850 of his money. That's ridiculous. Why? Why? Okay, generous trade, you accept. You know what? Just for being a pain, give me 2 boost. I'm gonna hostile take over myself. That's the plan. I'm gonna hostile take over myself. I need to steal myself from Exodus. I can't be working for the enemy. How can I expect my agents to trust me if I'm working for the enemy?
Things are cooling off.
Very unfortunate.
The people will come to our side.
That's great. We're starting to build up public support in Japan. Japan and Indonesia both have a key role in the future of Asia, just as Saudi Arabia does. Ethiopia too, potentially, if we can get it on track, although Humanity First is locking it down now. I'm getting tempted. I know this is going to be a shorter episode, but with the 3 American revolutions, I feel like we have had enough fun for one day, and I'm going to cut it here because I want to jump into the space exploration seriously next time. We're establishing ourselves on Mars. We've got 5 bases going out. We've got 1 mining on the Moon. I could probably afford to establish maybe 1 more on Mars, and then it's about Mercury and maybe some Tier 2 stations in low Earth orbit. Kazakhstan is still building mission control. Fortunately, it's 2 provinces, and Taiwan as well, but both will eventually fill up. But for now, we're getting a good stream of mission control coming online. Somewhere else to build it wouldn't go amiss. Singapore is usually a good candidate because it already has a space program and it has a core economic region and a decent number of investment points, but Humanity First is there. Who don't I have a non-aggression pact with? This is the question. Non-aggression pacts. I don't have one with the servants, and that's it. I got a non-aggression pact with everyone else. So I need to go find somewhere that the servants control, take it, and start building MC there. If I lose it later on, that's okay. Immediately, the Republic of Korea and Japan, in particular this particular spot, the legislature in Japan, maybe. But securing South Korea as a whole, 26, these things are way outside of my price range. So I'll find something. I hope you enjoy the way we're going so far. It was an eventful episode in some ways, but it's still very, very early game. But we're going into space. We've got a good timing push to start mining Mars over the course of 2025. 1 presence on lunar, which is handy. Everyone else has now gone to lunar. Exodus, Humanity First, Resistance, Servants, Protectorate, everyone is there. The good sites, Exodus is getting noble medals, but just about nothing else. The Servant site is pretty crap. The Humanity First one, at least they're getting some volatiles for their trouble, same with the Resistance, but these will barely pay for the upkeep. They're okay, but these are all nuclear weapons materials or reactor materials instead of stuff that's actually useful. Meanwhile, I don't think anyone's actually gone to Mars. Okay, you guys do you. I'll consider taking another site before you even get here. There's some good ones here. Anyway, leave it with me. I hope you enjoyed this episode and the concept of this run. I swear, not being able to go into America and fix this up and just worrying that someone's going to take over this executive spot and just destroy everything. I'm not even allowed to, with the rules of this run, I believe, jump into America, grab the executive point, and disarm all the nukes. Like, I'm not even able to do that, which would be I'd like that personally, but it is what it is. China is rising badly. 642 research output is fantastic, and there's a way to go. We haven't quite pushed to 5 yet, and the knowledge level will only go up. So stick with me, and I'll see you again next episode. Expect also a technology guide sometimes this weekend. If I can produce it on time, this weekend. If not, Monday at the latest. Hope you've enjoyed. See you soon.